And for a long time, I really thought that didn't make any sense.
No, call this the Humble Podcast.
So ready.
But you know what? While we're here, let's do Thank Me Later.
Won't catch me slipping if I'm actually thinking you're acting different. Manic spitting sounds of manic depression.
No.
Going through.
To contextualize, Thank Me Later. This is, when was it? 2010. So before Drake becomes Drake, he is the coming out of the, you know, he's like LeBron basically. Like this guy's the next thing, right? He has arguably one of the best mixtapes ever.
Mm-hmm.
Kid from Canada, but he's spitting.
Mm-hmm.
And he signs with Cash Money. You're like, what? He signs with Lil Wayne? Whatever.
I think everybody pretty much wanted him. And it's not fair. Everybody wants every rapper to always sign with good music.
For sure.
Pretty much. You know what I mean?
I don't remember that part, but I just remember.
I did. I was like, oh, I wish this dude would just sign with Kanye and it'd be good.
I just remember Cash Money being like, that doesn't really click. Like, I just remember that being like, that Drake and Thanks Money, whatever. But obviously, he's just a smart businessman. But
yeah,
that happens later. But yes, so on the heels of, you know, blowing up, killing every, you know, he has, I'm going in verse like that. Like, he's just crushing every feature. Charismatic.
Can I put a hot take about Going In, though?
Go ahead. Young Jeezy kills it.
Jeezy has the best verse on that album.
Jeezy has the best verse.
On that song.
Yeah.
Absolutely kills it with the she said she's seen it all. I said, no, you motherfucking did. And that shit is hard.
Said I seen it all. I said, no, the fuck you
that did. You know what? That's the verse. That verse is the reason why I like Jeezy. And then Jeezy follows up that fire verse with a real deep moment on this album that we can get into shortly, which I'll pull up.
Sure.
All
right, so this album comes out, and it is perceived how, Brian? How do you think it was perceived in the mass media?
I think everybody knew pretty much immediately that it was a pop album.
Well,
right?
Well, I don't know, because the single came out, and it was everyone liked it, right? The first single came out.
But no one... I think everyone liked it because girls liked it. And they, just like he says, right? You know what I mean? Your girlfriend likes my music, and so you like it. I forgot what the line he says. You know what I mean? That he kind of points to that. So that first song comes out, and all the chicks like it. And I think dudes are kind of like bopping their head on the low. And this is before Drake is fully realized. So no one, I don't think anyone wants to admit that they like that song, but it was catchy.
Well, everyone was conflicted, I guess, because The Best I Ever Had was like his first Snapchat, and it was like already like singles that were just like more geared towards the ladies.
Yeah.
And headlines, I guess, was supposed to gear towards both, but it was still more on the poppy side.
Yeah.
And then what was the second one? Was that the Rihanna John?
Yeah, the Rihanna on the second album.
No, on this album. What was the second single?
No, Rihanna's not on this album.
Oh.
The first song on here, first song...
Over. Oh, that was Over. That was the John, right?
No.
Find Your Love is the second one.
Find Your Love is the first single on this, I thought.
Oh, I'm confusing albums. My bad.
Yeah, well, no, you're fine. The thing is about this...
They all sound the same.
Well, no, and not only that, but so what we've learned since from this album is Drake's method of garnering interest into an album is to leak music and pretend like he didn't leak it.
Sure.
Because that's exactly what just happened with Tootsie Slide. And this album is supposedly all these songs that leaked and blah, 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 blah. And he said, I'll just put it together in a project and put it out.
Right.
It's like, no, your team leaked it to see how, because that's what happened. God's Plan leaked. And when they realized it was as hard as it was, they then follow up God's Plan with the song about women. I can't remember what the hell that song was called. And then they dropped the album, whatever. So when I remember, the only single that I really remember from this album really is Find Your Love. It's the only single I remember.
The first single was Over. I remember that. The first single was Over. And then the second single was, so Over was just like, he does a soft single, the first one. And then he comes with the ladies track. That's the formula that everyone's ever done.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. You know what? Because I guess you're right. I saw people posting this hook on Facebook all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you really know too many people here that weren't here last year? People that Drake, and also to contextualize, this is not the beginning of social media, but I think this is when social media is really taking off. right? Like this is really when Twitter's starting to take off. Facebook is now turned into what Facebook
No, just because you
is
came
now.
late into the game doesn't mean just.
No, that's not true. That's not true. I was late on Twitter.
Yeah.
But Facebook turns into Facebook around this time. Because remember, Facebook is just for colleges from 2004 to like 2007 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it starts adding more people, but it doesn't turn into Facebook, I think, until now. So this is, at least in my experience, is when people are exploding with Drake lyrics. They cannot wait to post any pseudo deep shit that Drake is posting, essentially.
Okay.
But he's following up a fire mixtape with this album.
So it's like Over, and then Fancy is the big single from this. Either Find Your Love or Fancy. I think Fancy ends up being like the biggest single of this album, correct?
Yeah, which is great. I want to bring this up because these are not the lyrics that I want to just look at. I just want to point one thing out on here that bothers me
I
about
fucking hate this song, by the way.
Do you?
I hate this song.
Oh, you fancy, huh?
I hate this song. It's so stupid.
It's not stupid. There is one thing that is stupid, though. Is it here? Wait, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not here that he says ironic, that he says something is ironic and it's wrong. No, I'm thinking of Karaoke.
I mean, you listen to hip-hop rap battles, like, they all use ironic wrong.
They do, but Drake gets the most credit every
Isn't it
time.
ironic that the girl I want to marry is a wedding planner?
That is not ironic. It's not irony. That is what you call coincidence. And for as long as we do this podcast and we do a Drake album, I'm going to find a line on that album where he says something is ironic, and it's actually not ironic. This is not irony. This is just a coincidence that this person is a wedding planner. It would be ironic if she was a divorce lawyer. That would be ironic.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? You want to marry somebody who specializes in divorce.
Right. It's the opposite of what you expect. Right.
Correct. Yeah, you just made it more simple than I.
I'm sorry. I have to teach it. That's how I teach it.
You know what it is? I am long-winded. Did you know this about me?
No. That's verbal irony. That's verbal irony. See, I said the opposite of what is expected. What I meant.
It reminds me of what were we playing catchphrase at John and Violise? And I said, let me break this down. And he's, oh, what the fuck?
Yo, I couldn't even hold my, I was like drunk as shit at that point. I was like, oh my. When Brian don't play catchphrase with Brian. Like, he's going to hold on to it for a while.
I'm going to get you the clue, though. You're going to get it right.
You can get it right. Nobody else can play after him.
Yeah, no one's going to play in this time frame after me, but you're going to get it right.
Word.
I'm going to break that bitch down. You're going to understand exactly what I'm talking about.
All right. So if we were to choose a song, so I guess we'll talk about, what the reaction of this album was afterward. But if we were to choose the highlight of a song, let's just pick what we think the best song is.
We know what it is. I just want to say this real quick. I love Karaoke. I'm a fan of Karaoke. As much as I just hated on it, Karaoke turns into it's Karaoke and is emblematic of my relationship with Drake, where it's a song that I hate at first, and then later on I can't stop fucking listening to it.
Brian was the number one person on the horse of the R&B Drake Crusaders. He's holding the flag, Aubrey, and just galloping.
I needed to. It wasn't until Hold On, We're Going Home that I realized what Drake was, and then I accepted it.
Accepted it. You ran.
And then I accepted it. Yeah, I ran with it. You're right. All right. Hold On, We're Going Home might be my favorite Drake song. Anyway, the best song on this album is Light Up.
Yeah.
And the best verse on this album is not Drake's.
I was gonna say, is it the best song because of Jay-Z or is it because of Drake?
I'm sorry.
Does Drake? How about this? Does Drake hold his own on this song?
Let's take a look at his lyrics real quick. This is where Drake fucks up, and this happens to every.
The first line and laugh.
Yeah. This is where rappers fuck up, and I talk about this all the time about Eminem. When rappers get on a song with Eminem, this is why, in my opinion, Lil Wayne had the best feature with Eminem. Where he's the only one, in my opinion, who I think out-raps Eminem, because he does Lil Wayne better than M does Eminem on that song.
For sure.
Because every other rapper wants to get on a song with Eminem and try to out Eminem. Mm-hmm. And you're just not going to do it. Eminem this is his style. He's perfected this shit. So Drake comes in here, and instead of being Drake, which is a cross between Jay-Z and he's like a lesser Jay-Z, but is a little more formulaic, I would say, in how he's like. I think he's like, because he's a writer. He's a technically better writer than Jay is, because Jay is not necessarily formulating a verse. Drake can write a verse that rhymes better than a lot of rappers, and then have lines that are almost as good as Jay-Z's. Instead, he tries to come in and like do a Jay-Z thing, and it just doesn't go good.
You try to be too braggadocious instead of being like introspective. Like if he would have just approached it from an introspective standpoint, I think that he would have.
Yeah, like what does getting money both ways, dirty, and like it just don't. I know what it means, it just don't sound good. Like it don't really. Rolexes, chauffeurs, and low phase. How young can you die from old age was hard.
That's a hard line. I was looking at that, John. Like that's a hard line.
That's hard. Nobody's working is probably true. Yeah,
he says, "Wait, I'm a star in No Spangled Banner." Just like, all right, you just try to do it just didn't work.
Yeah, you're trying to force clever shit in here to match Jay, and it's not working.
Nervous prom night, like it's like, all right.
Yeah, I just wrote it for your girlfriend's Kelsey Grammer. That's a good line. For those people who knew that Kelsey Grammer wrote Girlfriends, I don't think a lot of people knew that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But I mean, I guess his best line is, "If you're pillow talking with the women that are screwing you."
Yeah,
that's the highlight of the verse.
When correct, and also maybe is prescient, because then we find out later, possibly, who knows, that and there's been a lot of whatever, that 40 is having sex with a chick, and he lets this chick know that Drake is having a kid with that porn star or whatever, and then that chick tells people in Pusha T's camp. You know what I mean? So maybe a little ahead of his own time.
Wasn't Kanye?
That's according to Pusha T.
Hmm.
So who the fuck knows? You know what I mean?
That's ironic, huh?
Yeah.
You rap about how these women always taking you down.
Correct. And a woman, now that, you're right, that is ironic. But then Jay-Z comes. It's just a masterclass. Jay-Z does the thing where it's good that you compared Drake to LeBron, because remember, I had pitched a book to you years ago about comparing rappers to basketball players.
Right.
And really it's centered around this right here, Jay-Z and Drake. Right. Because Jay-Z is MJ of rap, there's no question. And then Drake or J. Cole, we could never really come to that agreement almost, was LeBron.
Well,
you know what I mean?
The further the career goes, the more it's becoming like J. Cole's Derrick Rose.
Yeah. I'd have to really think about this. I don't even know. No, because he's still, I would say he's Chris Paul.
Okay.
He's Chris Paul. He's always there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And as long as you have him, you're going to be winning. You know what I mean? You may not win a championship, but you're going to be around.
Yep.
But then who's Kendrick? See, because that's not even fair. No one has the longevity. I would really have to rethink this. But just to bring it back, this is where the conversation starts.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the first line, he's using the OVO icon. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, all right, you all about the owls? Let me use that.
Correct, yeah.
Like, that's crazy. And then rap it 3 different ways.
Yeah. Then the Con Edison flow, which I didn't get until I lived in Central Jersey, that Con Edison is the power, so it's the equivalent of saying PGW.
Okay.
Of saying Pico here. Con Edison provides electricity up there. So I'm connected to a higher power.
I think purposely kind of pronounced it way that it sounds like Tom Edison. Like, don't even ask me how Con. I don't know.
Con Edison is what it's called. And that's what the company is called that provides electric up there. So it's Con Edison flow. I'm connected to a higher power. The Light Bulb nightclub. I mean, all of this is just Jay-Z. I don't do too much blogging. I just run into town as a reference to one of my favorite Jay-Z albums. I don't care what anybody fucking says, Blueprint 3. But we know what line we're talking about. And this is a line that people are it's a shame because
before we get to that line though, but he's giving great advice with the silly rap views, trying to respect you. Like, I mean, this is like 444 before anything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, literally giving game to Drake and saying, listen, man.
Yo, you're right.
Keep the course clear and understand, like, that's why these dum-dums couldn't done them. And also he's commenting on the Rockefeller thing, obviously.
Yeah.
and all the people that are trying, like Jazzo and all them that are like, that's to contextualize this as well. Like he's throwing so many shots and giving game at the same time.
Yeah.
That is like,
every time Jay-Z, he learns from Super Ugly.
Yeah.
And he never responds to a rap beef outside of his own albums ever again, pretty much.
Never.
And like I said, this is around the time, this is after Blueprint 3 comes out, and on Blueprint 3, right, he does what we talking about, and he does I'm not talking about Jimmy, I'm not talking about Dame, I'm not talking about Game, I'm not talking about any of these people. And it's a diss in itself to say I'm not going to talk about them.
Right.
And here he is. He says, this is how they're going to come at you with silly refuge. They're going to try to distract you. In disguise in the form of a favor, which is important because this is the 50 Cent thing, right? Yeah. Where it's, let's have this beef, right? And it's going to make money. You know what I mean? And Jay was never, I'm just going to do his own thing. And then the Dum Dums could done him off. The Summers Are is the winner too. Just, it's not even a punch, but it's just the coolest fucking thing anyone could ever say. Top down in the winner. That's what winners do.
I mean, like, you can't even understand it until you like do it. It's like, that's some flossing. Like, I literally do this. Like, I like, yo, like, you can just tell he was like in the car with his homie. Like, yo, got our top down in the winner.
We some fucking winners. And that's it. But that's what rap is, right? Rap has always been about what made rap is. Well, part of what made rap is what makes gangster music eventually is believability, right? Authenticity.
Exactly.
So what makes Jay great is that when he's spitting some shit like this, you know, it's only a thing you could have thought of if you were doing it. You know what I mean? It's not like I could sit here and watch somebody with their top down in the winner and say it, because this is kind of a double entendre, right? Because I always thought about this and said, what is he saying right now when he says top down in the winner? Is he saying that he's in the middle of New York City during the winter time with his top down? Or is he saying he's on a tropical island somewhere driving around with his top down in the winter? You know what I mean? So I always looked at it that way. You can look at, and I'm sure he knows that you could take it however you want it. And to these, I'm like, Windows 7, you tell them, tell it, they swear that they invented you.
Oh, what a line.
Which is, it's like, suffers from how fast technology moves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because people forgot, for those who don't remember, the Windows 7 commercials were commercials where essentially it was like, it was people that were like, you know, like you'd have somebody shampooing saying that because they had suggestions or had whatever input, that they invented the shampoo or that they invented this thing. And it's those people telling the story of Windows 7 because they had input, and Windows was essentially at that time bragging that they had heard all the complaints about Windows XP and Windows Vista, and here was Windows 7 to answer those complaints, right? So here's Jay come in. If you let them tell it, they'll swear that they invented you, which obviously he's talking about Dame, and he's talking about really Dame is the main person who says this. And Jazzo too. Really, Jazzo and Dame are the two main people.
It's one of the two lines that he dismisses, and it's just like this one, obviously, that they're going to say that he made you like Windows 7, and obviously the other one saying, make another Jay-Z then.
Yeah, correct. Yes, then make another Jay-Z.
And those are the two lines, like literally a bar that he uses to dismiss and discount anything they've ever said. Like, fine, you made me, make another hoe.
You make another hoe.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a masterclass in writing and rapping, or for whatever he's doing, whatever Jay-Z is doing, which is a form of genius. I don't care what anyone says. And he just the best verse on the album. So but there's an honorable mention here. A little bonus time. All right.
Won't catch me slipping if I'm actually thinking you're acting different. Manic spitting sounds of manic depressing. Going through